Okay.
All right, Diane, you're good to go.
Okay. So back to executive summary, a short summarized version of your marketing plan, kind of a snapshot of what business you're in and where you're at. The next thing is your vision. The vision is aspirational. It's the desired future state of your business. And I put down Amazon's vision here. And if you look at it, it's short, but very complete. So then your mission statement should answer these basic questions. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Who do you do it for? And then Google's mission statement, which is amazingly short and succinct, but says exactly what they want to do. Looking at goals, we have, I suggest people do goals for both their operational end and their marketing. So for example, operational goals may be hiring new people, more training for your staff. For me this past year, it was bringing in another person to help with social media marketing. And SMART goals, of course, are ones that can be achieved. And don't necessarily think of goals only for this year, but think about setting yourself up for the years ahead. 2022, 2023. Then objectives to reach those goals. Sometimes it's tempting to just jump to the to-dos, making a list of what you need to do. But it's really better to set yourself up by defining your vision, mission, and goals to lay the groundwork for your action plan. Some of you will not be in charge of your company's website, but it still doesn't hurt to go through it and maybe make suggestions to your marketing department or to ask your webmaster to look at the back end for needed updates. I was contacted by, actually referred to a company a couple of weeks ago, and I started researching the company, and only the homepage of their website worked. And they didn't even realize it because they hadn't been looking at it. So certain things can go wrong with websites, like they go wrong with everything. Sometimes things just break, but they also need updating. For example, the websites, my website, most of those we build are with WordPress, and WordPress is continually coming out with new updated versions. And it's good to keep your website up to date. Also, every website, well, maybe not everyone, but most websites are built with a lot of plugins. And those plugins, again, need constant updating. So if you have a WordPress site, for example, you should go in at least once a month and update your plugins. If you don't know how to do that, get your webmaster to do it, or remind your web person that that's something they need to do. So, action plan and timetable. Maybe you need to change your social media strategy for the year ahead. Look at your metrics. Which channels are working best? Are you being consistent in the use of your social media? It's more important to be consistent than to post often. I mean, I've been on Facebook pages where I look at it and the last post they did was July, and then all of a sudden they posted the same thing 3 times in December. So you want to be consistent, because when people look at your Facebook page, I mean, everyone, of course, will look at your website, but they'll probably look at your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as well. and figure out how consistent you are. And that might influence how consistent they feel you'll be as a business person. If you haven't done any digital marketing, you might want to take a look at doing that. Also, you might look, if you're not already, at programs for managing or streamlining your efforts. So there's programs like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Buffer, even Constant Contact that you can use to schedule your posts in advance, and then they'll post when the day and the time that you want them to. By the way, Wednesday afternoons is a great time to post. Best platforms for business: Facebook, of course, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn is important, and YouTube and Reddit are several others. Perhaps your objective is to post one blog post per month. So what I suggest, I'm going to go down here, is doing a simple word table to put down what are you going to do, when are you going to do it, what is the cost. So, and then do an editorial calendar, again, using a simple word table. So you want to research your topics for maybe a 6-month period. During these uncertain times, I think 6 months out is about as long as you want to go. Then you know exactly what you're going to be posting about. Then, when you've done your research, you have your topics, you can use those topics for your e-newsletter and your blog. So basically, that's what content marketing is about, is creating good content and then using it over and over, different ways on different platforms. So maybe you'll do a 12-month blog editorial calendar, and then you'll take those topics and break them down into weekly, twice a week social posts. So I've just found that planning ahead makes it so much easier. So we're posting for a client, grab that editorial schedule, put that post up. Very easy to do. And there again is the example of the editorial calendar. This is for a company called Q3 Shipping Containers. Who knew there were companies that sell shipping containers? Now I'm going to talk about email marketing. I am a Constant Contact solution provider for Constant Contact, and I do a lot of emails for clients. But initially, I found that a lot of clients say, oh, people don't need to see my email. People's email inbox is all junked up. They don't need to see mine. The thing is, it is junked up, and especially during the pandemic. But if done effectively, it is still one of the most effective ways to reach your customers, to stay in touch with your customers, and to grow your business. The thing is, you need to know who your customers are and what their interests are. For example, how many of you love to travel pre-pandemic? We did. And I've booked a lot of trips through booking.com, hotels.com, TravelZoo, Travelocity, and so forth. And even though we can't go any of the places that travel sites are now promoting, I still get 3 to 4 travel emails a day. And why are companies doing that? Well, the reason is they want to stay in front of me. Even if I don't open the email, I'm still seeing that they're sending them. I'm still seeing booking.com is doing this, doing that. TravelZoo is offering these specials. So even if you do email marketing and say you have a 30% open, 30% open rate is very good. Even if you only have, say, a 15% open rate, all those people that you know that you sent the email to still see your name and your company. So it's a way of staying top of mind, and maybe they won't delete that email. Maybe they will put it in their inbox, and when they need your service, they'll come back to it and contact you. That happened to me once. I was looking for a home stager, and there was a gal in one of my networking groups who was a home stager. So I thought, I went back in my emails and found her name, her company name, and contact information, and contacted her. So it was years after I had first met her, but when the need came up, she was there. So one of the things, also a benefit of email marketing, is the automation. When you schedule your newsletter, you can also set up social posts that take people to your newsletter. You can also automatically set up, when people sign up for your newsletter, an automatic thank you. If they do certain things, you can tailor responses to what they've done. So for example, if you're running a sale and someone clicks on a link you have, Daniel knows all about this, you can drive them to the landing page you want them to go to. And a lot of consumers really do want to hear from you. For example, if you've noticed, on Thursdays or before a big game, all of the restaurants are promoting their specials. They're promoting takeout, the kinds of food that people might eat, wings, pizzas, for a game. They know that people are interested in that at that time. You won't get those emails on a Monday, but you will get them on Thursday or Friday or before the big game. Emails also allow you to reach a mobile office, a mobile audience. Most email templates now are set up to be for both desktop and mobile. And I've found that a lot of times it's about half and half. Half people look at it on their desktop and half on their smartphones. But it reaches customers where they are. So here are some do's for putting your email together. First of all, the subject matter, you want to select the right template for what you're doing. Restaurant templates, retail templates, real estate templates, they're all different and have a different feel. You can see one of my newsletters there was done during the early part of the pandemic. Not that early, but I was giving people ideas of things that they could promote, themes that they could use for promotions. Then you want to personalize by first name. And if you don't have a first name in your database, have a default greeting like dear valued client or customer. Then you want to write a compelling subject line. It's amazing, but some people still read our latest newsletter, or February newsletter. It needs to draw attention, but it can't be misleading. Otherwise, if it's just clickbait, people will soon figure out that the subject line has nothing to do with the content, and they'll stop clicking. For this one that I did, I had my subject line was the same as the headline there, and the open rate was 21% compared to an industry average for marketing of 11%. Other do's are link. So have links within your newsletter that go to, maybe it links to a blog post, because in your e-newsletter you might have, if you want to have 3 or 4 articles, you don't want to have the whole article. So you have just a portion of it, and then you have read more, and then it links to your blog, which gets people to your website. Also link your photos, because people do click on photos and they expect to go someplace from the photo. So the photo could link to your blog, or it could link to another part of your website that you would like people to be at. Set up A/B testing on your newsletter, or set your newsletter up so that it automatically resends to people who haven't opened it after 3 or 4 or 5 days. A huge don't is building your email list improperly. Never purchase an email list. I'm sure, like many of you, I've been getting so many junk emails, and those are from people who bought lists, and there's no way I'm going to open them. So build it organically. More important don'ts are sending too many messages, using images that are way too small or too big because it won't load properly, not sending yourself a test message to make sure there's no typos or no funky spacing, things like that. Don't put in any spam triggers, such as a lot of exclamation marks, all caps. Avoid words like cheap, cash off, 100% free, and so forth. And just one final thought about content marketing, because really that's what we're talking about. Here's a new book. Content marketing is designed to solve the problem of spreading the word about businesses without relying entirely on paid advertising. That's what this network group is about. That's what content marketing is about. And if you're interested, there is a new book called What's Your Problem? And it talks about how content marketing is about solving problems. So thank you for your time. Sorry I went over a little bit. There's my contact information. Any questions?
Thank you, Diane. That was really awesome. I appreciate your, and I'll get right to you, Jim. I want to get out of here. All right, there we go. All right, so now we can see each other again. Thank you again, Diane. And we'll make sure that your contact information gets in the chat box when I do the follow-up so people can reach you. But go ahead, Jim Mead. You can start us off.
All right, thank you, Kurt. Diane, good presentation. A lot of great nuggets in there. Could you expound or just a little bit of an explanation for A/B testing?
Oh yes, that's where you test different subject lines. So if you have your if you have your email lists segmented, then you can send, or just even if you don't, you can send one subject line to some of your lists and a different subject line to the other lists, and then see which performed the best.
Got it. Got it.
And then analyze and look at, why is that? Why was this more compelling than that?
Thank you.
I agree with you, Jim. There were some really good nuggets in there. I mean, I do a weekly. You talk about a monthly newsletter. I do mine weekly. But there were some really good tips in there, especially about subject line. I think getting people to be able to open it and have an intriguing headline is important. And then I see some tricky things like, I'm asking again for your response, when you know that they never asked you about anything, but it makes you want to open it because you're afraid you missed something, And then I get that feeling that someone took advantage of my good nature.
Now, if you want, I can send this to you, Kurt, and then you can send a PowerPoint to everyone.
I'm happy to do that. Can you talk a little bit more about subject lines and how to get people's attention and still not make people mad?
Well, so actually, in a way, writing the subject line starts with the content of the newsletter, because you want to make sure the content of the newsletter is interesting and helpful and adds value. So when you do that, then you take, sometimes I create my newsletter before I create the subject line. And a great way is to ask questions, to talk about something new that's happening, to offer, if you're a retail store or even services, offering a special deal. Doing something a little bit unexpected. Like in the newsletter I showed, it was something like fun ways to spice up your fall marketing. So people knew that they were going to get some ideas when they opened that. So that's really what it's all about. And back to the A/B testing, you could actually send, and I've done this, send the two different subject lines to a small group of people and see which one does best, and then send the better one to the rest of your mailing list.
Good idea.
Diane.
Anybody else have any questions to Sandy?
I do, yeah. Just to kind of clarify what you put in the subject line, is it kind of like LinkedIn? So you know how in LinkedIn, people will attach a video or an article or whatever, and or on Facebook, and you put a little tagline, that says, are you going stir crazy in your little house? And then then you read the article, and it's about, housing prices, or how can you make the most out of the rooms that you're in, things like that. So it kind of recaps, is that right? It kind of recaps the article without.
It can recap it. It can bring out the most interesting aspect or the most unusual aspect.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dorina. Dorina, you're next.
Is there like a timing? So like Kurt said, he sends out a newsletter once a week. You're talking about a monthly. Is there kind of an industry standard of what annoys people? So, I get so many emails, and, there's the ones where I get, somebody sends them to me every day, and then I'm deleting them because it's too much. And is there something that is a comfortable level that you recommend, or does it depend on the industry and what you're giving?
It depends on the industry. Like restaurants generally send out at least once or twice a week. And if you're talking about marketing, people, I don't have time to create interesting content about marketing every week. I mean, new content. So once a month is good. But there are, in the past, pre-pandemic, there were days and times of the day that were best by industry. Early in the pandemic, it really didn't matter all of that much because newsletters were getting a very high open rate. Now that our inboxes have been junked up with true junk, it's more important to pay attention to the timing. I mentioned earlier that Wednesday afternoons are between noon and 5 are good times for social media. The middle of the week is good for newsletters, depending on the industry that you're in. So for me, Wednesdays are good. But what you can do is look at the metrics of your e-newsletter program. So it will show you who opened it, what day and what time. And then you can see for your business what the best open time would be.
All right, we're gonna have to
With
wrap
best
up.
efforts.
I want to respect everybody's time. It is 1:00.